Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, has endorsed Trump. Just four short years ago, she endorsed Joe Biden. You know, a lot of the people who are doing the horseshoe theory thing on Twitter are skipping over that endorsement, like that she endorsed Bernie in 2016, and then just 8 short years later, she's endorsed Trump. It's like
she's a massive opportunist.
You're missing an election.
Yeah.
Like the
there
Bernie
seems
stuff,
to be other things at play here.
It's crazy because even the original Bernie thing, like anybody with a memory that wasn't a goldfish would have recognized her as the person who was saying Barack Obama is too much, is afraid to say radical Islamic terror. Like she's a right wing freak. And she said she liked Bernie, and certain people like Jimmy Dore were like, oh, well, that's good enough for me. And then she just reverted back to where she is, which is a homophobe right winger that will do anything for an opportunity, which is why she again endorsed Biden over Bernie Sanders. She like all these guys that support Tulsi like to like hate on Elizabeth Warren. Tulsi did what Warren did, but just frankly like worse and to less the less impact. At least Warren got some input into the Biden administration.
With Lena Khan, right?
Yeah.
Well, but it's because Warren has actual power, and Tulsi just has like imagined ethereal power. That's part of why she wants to be close to whoever she thinks is going to be president, because she grew up in a cult that also staffed her like whole campaign staff as well. Some of the members, they literally think like she's doing the work of what they believe in. So that's why she's always orienting herself in specific ways to be as close to power as she can be. With all that said, here she is in Detroit at a National Guard Association conference. Anyway, it's we could talk about Tim Walz, but Tulsi Gabbard, I guess she's back from doing intelligence operations in Africa.
Being a PSYOP admiral in the Horn of Africa.
Yeah, making sure Africa remains cultivated for American interests, you know.
Okay, so here's the anti-war candidate person endorsing Trump.
In what I say when I share with you that I know that President Trump understands the grave responsibility that a president and commander-in-chief bears for every single one of our lives. Whether you're a soldier, you're an airman, a Marine, sailor, or a coastie, he keeps us in his heart in the decisions that he makes. We saw this through his first term in the presidency, when he not only didn't start any new wars, he took action to de-escalate and prevent wars.
With Iran?
He exercised the courage that we expect from our commander-in-chief in exhausting all measures of diplomacy, having the courage to meet with adversaries, dictators, allies, and partners alike in the pursuit of peace, seeing war as a last resort. The truth is, as we head towards our decision as a country in November, the same cannot be said about Kamala Harris. In fact, the opposite is true, and we're living through this reality today as this administration has us facing multiple wars on multiple fronts and regions around the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief.
Okay, great.
So nothing about Israel, interestingly.
No, but they're slaughtering people.
Weird.
A lot of them are Muslim, which is like what she
loves.
She's like,
actually.
I live for this.
In my opinion, just my opinion, I don't have proof of that, but I think she really likes what's happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
She really gets off on it and would be there herself if she wasn't in politics.
That was a big shock about that deployment, was that it wasn't. I guess I'm trying to think if it was pre or post October 7th.
It was pre.
So that's maybe why it was. Maybe if she didn't have she couldn't fill out her preference sheet. Like, I want to go here, actually.
Right.
If that's cool. If I could do the
I mean, she's a good shoulder. She'll go where she wants.
Yes,
but
right.
I mean, she would love to be killing Muslims if she could. It's the one thing that's consistent about her.
And the anti-gay stuff. But R.M. Brown,
right.
What is your view of Trump as the anti-war candidate?
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's like the same thing with like RFK and all these guys where it's like, I don't know. It's almost like it's weird that she has a following. It's like, why? Like it's almost like, why pay attention to any of this stuff? You know, if you're a Tulsi fan, you know, I'm never gonna get it. I also saw, I don't know if you guys saw this. I think we're gonna maybe watch a Brett Weinstein clip, but he's doing some like rally thing or something, and it's gonna be like, it's her, Brett Weinstein, Russell Brand, and it's like that, you know, like group of people. And I don't know, that's yeah. It's like this group of people who, I don't know what the deal with their following is, like what they're into with this. I don't get it.
You're gonna get a lot of anti-Semitism from like this sort of crowd because it's not because of what's going on in Gaza. It's because they desperately wanted to go through this entire year draping themselves as the anti-war people, and they can't because they can't come out against Israel. And actually, that's even a more glaring influence of American evil. Than
that's RFK too.
RFK is a bigger Zionist than Trump or Biden, I think.
Yeah, super anti-war though, somehow. But,
Rumblecella.
Well, it's really just isolation. Well, because they're working backwards from, they want to support Putin, but they don't want to say it, right? I mean, that's kind of it. Yeah. They like the politics of Putin. They like the politics of Viktor Orban. They like the politics of Trump. Whatever. They enjoy the display of might. That's something that they are, I think, in the base at least, these folks are gesturing towards that because that's almost as like, that's how they conceive of how American power should look.
But it's also, I mean, a part of it is just, I've seen this my entire life. Like, Americans don't like this war shit. And there's not a whole lot of actual compelling reasons to draw people to the right, but they'll try to get with that anyway. So that's why you had Ron Paul throughout all these years being like, I'm the actual anti-war guy, even though from my perspective, like it seemed like I would probably go with Obama in that election because he was like the anti-Iraq war. Like that's what drew me in that primary to him over Clinton. And so that's why the Republicans, they were set up with the Ukraine thing to position themselves as that, because that you look at a lot of elections in the history when stuff like this is going on, and people always say foreign policy doesn't matter, but actually there's a lot of people who really don't like what America does worldwide, and it really screwed them that Israel tried to did a genocide now, because you have guys like Tim Pool, like you showed, like that can't condemn that because they know that's a third rail because of people that handle them.
Oh my God, that was an amazing moment. I can't believe you got that. That was a tough one for old Tim to try to square that.
Yeah,
that was great.
That's complicated.
Okay. Whoa.
For people that may not have seen it, just look up Tim Pool and my name, and then Israel. Trump. Tim didn't have an opinion. He said he was more anti-war than me, but then when I asked him about Israel, he didn't have an opinion on the top recipient.
It's all isolationism until Israel gets involved.
Emma asked him about it. He said, "I don't want to have stupid conversations with morons."
I honestly think the context of that might have been somewhat related. Actually.
You think so?
I would be interested in that. Let's quickly also just watch her on with Glenn Beck. So Glenn Beck has her on. He asks her about her positions on war here, and let's hear what she has, as he has the literal like propaganda about the hostages up on his thing.
Right, exactly.
I mean, look at that chyron. Let's just put it up really quickly.
American hostages.
325 days in Gaza. This is false propaganda that upholds the idea that this genocide is about retrieving the hostages, that when we know that the majority of the hostages that have been returned happened during the quote temporary pause. They're just being used as propaganda objects to continue a genocide, which Glenn Beck is furthering on his program as he talks to Tulsi Gabbard about how they're actually anti-war, and it's the Democrats who love war.
So who is running the country? And I saw, who was it? Some Hollywood celebrity today came out and said, it doesn't matter if she doesn't give an interview, and it doesn't matter if she doesn't articulate her platform.
A celebrity said that,
she just has to win. And I thought, that is voting for an oligarchy.
Can you pause it? Actually, I know what he's referring to there. That is Quentin Tarantino was on with Club Random with Bill Maher.
Speaking of Israel.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's,
Yeah, why does Quentin Tarantino live? Has anybody explained that? Why he lives there?
he
What's
does.
going on with that? Yeah, he lives in Tel Aviv, right?
Yeah,
I
he
knew,
really
I knew he
loves
was.
it.
I knew he was I knew he was a Zionist. I did not realize he lived or has, a home in Israel. I guess it's not.
I'm
too
shocked
surprising,
that the
but-
guy who gratuitously found a way to say the N-word in all of his movies is a Zionist.
Yeah, no, he's a big time
It's,
Zionist.
it's culturally relevant. It's culturally relevant, Django.
All right, let's keep going.
Oh, that is voting for an oligarchy. That's because we don't know who's running the country right now. It's obviously somebody or a group of people.
Sorry,
They have an agenda.
I would like to let Glenn Beck cook, but I want to say something I appreciate about Bernie Sanders' appearance on what's his name's show, the comedian
Theo
guy
Von.
Theo Von, because there's a discussion about democracy there, and I think, frankly, look, it might be better a campaign message to say save democracy as opposed to the more accurate maintain the democratic elements of our oligarchy. But that is actually what the fight is about, and I think Bernie Sanders put that closely. So yes, Glenn, congratulations for recognizing that we do live in an oligarchy and not a democracy. You are in part why we have not been able to be so clear about that for fucking decades now, you idiot.
Well, Trump's the rich guy. What does he think oligarchy
A New York,
means?
developer. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, are you saying that Glenn Beck is disingenuous? A guy who sounds and looks like that? Okay, come on, that's not fair. No. That doesn't seem right. With that
Obviously-
mic?
Yeah, what is that, Mike?
I know, right?
I am in this professionally. I've never seen something like that.
A
Interesting.
white mic cover? I mean, you're kind of. I mean,
Let's draw as much attention to this thing in front of my face as possible.
It looks like a book sock or something like that. Like it looks.
Yeah, exactly. It's
oh gosh, a
got
book
his
sock.
logo on it.
Yeah, it's odd.
Somebody
Guardian
or a
helmet.
group of people, they have an agenda. None of us have voted for those people. We don't even know who it is. We're an oligarchy.
That's exactly right, and this is important for voters to recognize. And the more
Absolutely,
these
Tulsi.
Hollywood celebrities and other people say those kinds of things, it just reinforces that fact. And also the fact that they think that we as voters are so stupid as to fall for it, to
What?
fall for the lie, the facade that they are creating. Yes, it is Tony Blinken who has turned the State Department, which is supposed to be the department that's responsible for diplomacy and
calls people
preventing
radical
war,
Muslims.
into what is essentially a war department. And we see Jake Sullivan, who's president, who's the national security advisor in the White House, and we see people like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton who are still calling the shots, and many others whose faces and names will not be on the front page or on your television anytime soon, both in the government as well as outside of the government, in the military-industrial complex, who are part of this. They are of this cabal of neocon elitist warmongers who will put their power and their profits ahead of people every day of the week.
Wow, that's big. Hey, Glenn, what was your stance on the Iraq War? Still waiting.
Didn't he stand up to that cabal of elitist warmongers in 2004, 2003, or whatever?
Yeah, I think he was out there protesting it. I think he was super.
Yeah.
He was,
It was-
really.
People are always saying it was Barbara Lee and Glenn Beck leading the charge.
Tulsi endorsed Joe Biden. Like, how does that never come up?
She doesn't mention Biden there.
Like, you're part of the reason
Right?
he's the fucking president, you idiot.
She says Tony Blinken and Jake Sullivan and Obama and Hillary Clinton are calling the
Again,
shots.
I hate all those people for foreign policy. I think they're evil. Tulsi Gabbard's problem with Obama was that she wasn't taking the fight to Islam worldwide. Like,
Yes.
I don't
Right.
know.
Yes.
And like all these people get to posture as anti-war. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. These are defense contractors. They literally are defense contractors. That's just a descriptive label for them. And they're anti-war?
Yeah, that's what I don't get about the Tulsi RFK people is like they're like, it almost seems like they're going in the right direction. Like they're, like you were saying, they are like anti-war and all that stuff. And they're like, they're kind of getting fooled by these people. It's like, it's like a halfway. They're like halfway there or something, and they fall into the Tulsi trap and the RFK trap or something.
Yeah.
What's the Tulsi trap? It's just like a thirst trap of her
Instagram.
doing yoga.
I imagine a lot of the Tulsi followers that might factor in. I have a suspicion about that.
Are you sure? I mean, it does seem maybe it's a little odd that all of her fans back in the day were the most online men of I'm very online. I don't know, but they.
You don't see a lot of women for Tulsi. That's true.
You didn't see a ton.
I'm trying to rack my brain to see if I can remember a single one in 8 years of doing this job. I don't think so. I think it's all guys.
Yeah.
I find the anti-war stuff also kind of incredible because it's also with her in particular. I'm sure she'll go this far now that she's endorsed Trump too. Like, I'm sure she'll say this for any boondoggle that she doesn't support. But when it comes time for her to be at like a Trump rally, being like, we need to take like offensive action against the cartels, she's gonna say we need to like literally bomb the Sinaloa cartels in the mountains of Mexico, and that will not come up in like wait, aren't we supposed to be isolating ourselves militarily instead of attacking our border our country that's on our border?
It doesn't come up that she's literally in the Legume writes in. Doesn't she literally work for the military industrial complex?
She's literally in, I believe, psychological operations.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I
wouldn't be surprised if there's some mass protest in the United States where she's like send the National Guard. I would not be shocked at all.
But that's the thing is like her critique of the military and all of these people, and I would include probably Glenn Greenwald, though he's blocked me for a while, so I haven't been able to keep up with his.
And time is running short.
You're missing
out. Get back on the same side.
But I think
we need to work together.
To be fair, I think he, maybe slightly more principled, but I think that the libertarian critique of the military is that shit. It's gonna hit our pocketbooks one of these days. So we better start doing this whole world power thing a little bit more smartly. I definitely think that's where Tulsi Gabbard is at Elon Musk and all these people. Like we need to do empire smarter, not harder. Not that we need to roll back empire.
Dark Soul, Tulsi forming a new belief system like creationism, but it starts in 2008. Jay Tingle, Tarantino fell in love with a young Israeli woman about 10 years ago. Her father was a popular singer in Israel. He lived in Tel Aviv when he got married and stays while his kids were born. However, it appears he moved back to Los Angeles since October 7th. Evidently, he's a Zionist by marriage. Okay.
Weirdest meet cute ever.
It happens, unfortunately. And I've kind of sat on this because, it's a little bit petty, but Radiohead's my favorite band of all time. Radiohead is very against boycott, divest, sanctions. I believe about a decade ago they said, yeah, we are choosing to just do our music because of love and everything, and also J.K. Rowling doesn't boycott Israel, so why should we? Which I thought was pretty beneath them, and the image that I had created in my head about what Radiohead represents. Johnny Greenwood's wife is Israeli, and it's tough. But I did find her Twitter page once, and she was retweeting Douglas Murray. So a lot of these things get demystified, unfortunately, when you see some of this stuff. And it's a big fucking shame because people are subscribed to fascism and they think it's
I mean, Ziggy Marley is another example of somebody who married an Israeli, and
And as this goes on, this should be a time of awakening for good people who have been subscribed to a form of fascism. And places like my alma mater, NYU, should not be creating a police state to protect them from that latent realization.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.